The royals' Christmas plans look a little different this year as they transform Windsor Castle into a winter wonderland, and Kate and William hit the rails to thank frontline workers.
Catherine and I felt it was extremely important to visit just some of the heroes that have emerged this year to thank you for all you've done.
Backlash against the crown continues as Princess Diana's former butler speaks out.
He was one of her closest confidants, and he has been speaking on her behalf for years. And he sort of says that he said Josh O'Connor plays Prince Charles as a rather uncaring, cold person, and I'm afraid that's what I saw behind closed doors.
Plus, the Telegraph's KJ Yossman helps us break down the investigation into Martin Bashir and the BBC over his 1995 interview with Princess Diana.
And for the royal family, I think, particularly for William and Harry, the best case is that they get more insight into how this interview happened and what happened behind the scenes. Because I think the reason the impact of this interview was so large was because 2 years later, obviously, Princess Diana died.
We've got that plus so much more in today's Royally Us. Hello to our fellow royal lovers and welcome to Royally Us. I'm Christina, that's Molly, the host of the Diva Behavior Podcast. Hi, Molly.
Hi, Christina. How's it going?
Good. How about you?
Pretty good.
Good. Yeah, we got a lot to get to today. A great interview with KJ coming up that I feel like people are going to learn a lot from. So before we get started, we have to check in with our royal viewers, our royal watchers who had a lot to say about last week's show. So let's kick it off with Kaz Pizzazz says, Rebecca, your words about Meghan were lovely. A change from the bitterness Meghan has had from trolls. You're so right. She has done nothing wrong. Just a beautiful, strong girl. Thank you. Of course, talking about our guest last week who talked all about Meghan opening up about her miscarriage in the New York Times.
Right. And she talked a lot about the cultural differences that Meghan must have faced in the royal family. And I think that is like the main thing that people forget is just how hard it is to enter a new family as an in-law without cultural differences. And then to add that on, I feel like it's definitely worth remembering whenever we have the Meghan conversation.
I totally agree with you. I mean, she was kind of thrust into this, no family, no friends around, just being like, hey guys, I'm here. Help me out. But all right. And the next one from Sam says, go Meghan and Harry, keep shining and rising onwards and upwards. Keep safe and stay strong and positive. Sorry for your loss. Definitely a nice message because we said last week, a lot of people were giving them a lot of backlash, a lot of hate for, coming forward and talking about the struggles that they have been facing, which so many people do as well.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I hope everyone got it out of their systems and they're going to stop now because I don't know, especially this time of year.
Right. Bring some Christmas joy. Yeah. And the last one goes to Sarah. It says, I don't like Kristen Stewart. A rock emotes more. Oh, no.
Well, someone didn't watch Happiest Season, did they?
No, I guess not. But yes, of course, Kristen Stewart is going to be playing Princess Diana in the upcoming movie Spencer. I think she's going to do a good job.
I think so too. And I do see what this person is saying, that she does have a little bit of a stiff demeanor, but so do like upper class British people. I think it's a good pairing. I think it's going to be great.
I think it's going to be great. I can't wait. All right, well, let's get into our royal roundup, our royal news of the week. And let's kick it off with Kate and William, who got Britain in the Christmas spirit on their 3-day tour of Scotland, England, and Wales aboard the royal train. This looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looked great. They were going all over the place, thanking frontline workers. They spoke to some reindeer, both real ones and little kids with antlers on. They were just going all over the place.
They were going all over the place. They were delivering gifts. They were sending thanks. And they got to ride around on the royal train, which looks pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it really looks like a throwback to another era. I can't imagine having your own train to just go all over the country. And it really seems amazing.
It really does. And what was interesting is that they don't sleep in the same quarters because I guess the beds are very small. So they have to sleep separately, but it's very regal, very royal, as you would expect.
Yeah, next they're going to need to fire up the royal yacht again. I think they probably all miss that.
Probably. But there was also the story during the pandemic that I absolutely love because Kate secretly gave back by volunteering with Len Gardner, who is an 85-year-old full-time caregiver to his wife with Alzheimer's disease. I absolutely love this story so much.
Yeah, this is really nice and really heartwarming. I think it's great that she sort of did this and the news about it didn't really come out until now. It just shows that they are doing so much behind the scenes that we might not even know about.
Yeah. She was, just got on the phone with him. They talked for about 30 to 45 minutes, multiple times, and just talking about their experience, talking about their interests and their love of food, which was really fun.
Yeah, really sweet.
Yeah, I think she gifted him a pasta maker, which is really sweet. And they actually got to meet face to face during this royal tour. So everything kind of came full circle.
Yeah, that must have been really amazing for both of them.
Yeah, definitely. I love that story. All right. Well, the royal family is getting into the holiday spirit. And for the first time in 33 years, they're going to be spending Christmas at Windsor Castle. The royal residence is decked out in festive garland and gold-colored candles. But the star of the show is, of course, Queen Elizabeth's exquisite Christmas tree.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous. It's a 20-foot Norwegian spruce, and it came from Windsor Great Park, which is part of the Crown Estate, and then they transported it to Windsor Castle, and they've got hundreds of ornaments on it.
Oh, I'm sure. It's got to be stunning. And people can actually go and see all of the decorations in person, which is really fun.
Right. Now that the lockdown in the UK has lifted again, it's definitely a great idea to go and see that and, take your kids along and see all the ornaments and everything.
Yeah, but definitely Christmas is going to look a little different. Like we said, this is the first time in 33 years that they're going to be spending Christmas at Windsor because they're usually where?
At Sandringham. So normally we see that great walk to the church when they all have the coats on, and it sort of sets the tone for winter fashion in my eyes, at least.
Totally.
So yeah, we're not going to get that this year. The Queen and Prince Phillip are going to be at Windsor Castle, which is a lot closer to London and closer to Buckingham Palace. And then as far as the rest of them, I'm not fully sure. We don't know yet.
We don't know. We're not sure if the rest of the family is going to be taking the trip. I don't know if they're going to quarantine before they go, because obviously everything is still raging with the coronavirus. So they probably don't want to take the chance. I feel like they're probably all going to have a quiet Christmas at home, but who knows?
Right. Yeah, it's really hard to say, especially because, Will and Kate went around the country on the train, like we said before, which actually isn't really part of the guidelines right now. You're not really supposed to be traveling. And some of the government officials in Scotland and Wales were speaking out about that and saying that they were not really supportive of it. So I think they're going to probably play it even safer for Christmas because they're not going to want any sort of backlash like that again.
Well, yes. I mean, Christmas is definitely going to look a little bit different this year for everybody, but the Queen is still doing her Christmas message, which is something to look forward to.
Yes, that's great, at least.
Yes. All right. So speaking of picking out Christmas trees and decorating, I love this. Prince Harry and Meghan were spotted picking out their own Christmas tree in California, but Harry was mistaken for somebody else.
Yes, this is hilarious. A little kid saw him and thought that he worked at the Christmas tree lot and asked him for some help.
I love that so much. That's fantastic. I'm sure Harry handled it like a champ. I give the kid a pass, though, because he probably had his mask on. He probably didn't realize. So
that's true.
Okay.
And Harry must have been flattered because it means he really is fitting in California.
Yeah, and I think that they're just spending a quiet Christmas at home, the three of them with Meghan's mom, so it should be a nice Christmas for them. Well, this week, Harry also spoke out about the coronavirus. Take a look at this.
Mother Nature has sent us to our rooms for bad behavior, to really take a moment and think about what we've done.
So what did Harry have to say about this, and where did he make these remarks?
So Harry was helping to launch Water Bear, which is a new streaming service with a focus on environmental films and shows. So he talked about how becoming a father sort of made him want to try even harder on the climate issue and make sure that things will be better for Archie.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully they will. And we have some sad news. Queen Elizabeth is mourning the loss of her dog, Vulcan. A source told us that the Dachshund Corgi mix passed away during lockdown. So sad.
I know, and now she's only got one pet left.
Oh, one left, I know. But she's had many corgis throughout her reign. There's been a lot.
Yeah, maybe Santa will bring her some more.
I hope so. Yes. All right. Well, now it is time to spill the royal tea, and people are still talking about The Crown weeks after it premiered. But however, seemingly in response to commentary of the new season, Netflix promoted their documentary, Diana in Her Own Words, which uses the recording she made for Andrew Andrew Morton's tell-all biography. Now, their tweet said, the documentary, Diana, in her own words, answers much of what you're asking. And a lot of people took issue with this because they feel that The Crown doesn't really tell both sides of the story.
I mean, you can Google it and decide for yourself. I feel like that's the best course of action because, like Netflix says in this tweet, there's a lot of information out there about what went on, and you can get the royal family side and you can get Diana's side. So, you know, the information's out there.
The information is out there, and you decide which side you're on. There's, you know, her side, his side of the truth. We'll never know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, so what is fact versus fiction? Well, according to Diana's former butler, Paul Burrell, season 4 of The Crown is actually pretty close to the truth. And I mean, he was there firsthand. He was there behind the scenes. So who knows?
Yeah, he was one of her closest confidants, and he has been speaking on her behalf for years. And he sort of says that, he said, Josh O'Connor plays Prince Charles as a rather uncaring, cold person, and I'm afraid that's what I saw behind closed doors. So that's pretty damning, I would say.
What did he say he believes caused the rift between Charles and Diana?
He thought it had a lot to do with Charles's jealousy over Diana's fame.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, you know, she was an unknown. She rose to become the most famous person in the world at the time, probably, and beloved by so many people, where Charles just kind of stayed the same during that time period in terms of his fame. I'm sure he got a little boost from her, but that probably bothered him even more. So
I'm sure. Yeah. No, I mean, we've heard reports about that for years that, you know, he was not happy that she was getting, like, people were disappointed when they went on events and he was on one side of the crowd and she was on the other, and people were disappointed that he was on their side and they wanted to see Diana. So it's definitely been reported that he had a little bit of jealousy that she became so famous and so well loved.
It's kind of unfortunate because, you know, if they, I guess the whole message of The Crown is if they kind of played as more of a team and he was a little bit more supportive of her, then maybe things would have turned out much better.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, speaking of Diana, it is now time to break down the royal rules with the Telegraph writer, KJ Yossman, who is here to help us break down what is really going on in the investigation into Martin Bashir and the BBC for their 1995 interview with the late princess. Take a look. Tell us, kind of break it down. What exactly is going on with Martin Bashir and the BBC, and what are they under investigation for?
So it's quite complicated, and obviously it happened over 25 years ago, so it's quite historic as well, but it had very big consequences for everybody, really. So Martin Bashir is being accused of gaining access to Princess Diana under false pretenses, and he did that, according to Diana's brother Earl Spencer, in various ways, including feeding her fantastical stories, that her life was in danger, that her phones were being bugged by security services, that the security services were paying her staff to feed them information on her, and basically creating an atmosphere of paranoia, and he gained her trust that way. That's what Earl Spencer is alleging.
What do you see the outcome of this being? What's the best outcome of this inquiry, and what is the worst?
Well, I mean, the worst for Martin Bashir could potentially be criminal charges. Under the 1981 Forgery Act, he could potentially be arrested, and even potentially face defamation lawsuits from the people involved. So one of the things that he did to apparently gain Diana's trust was show her and her brother Earl Spencer false bank statements that he had someone create that showed the security services were paying off some of her staff. That's effectively defamatory against those staff members. They could have an action to sue Martin Bashir and the BBC for making those allegations. So that really, is quite serious. And for the royal family, I think, particularly for William and Harry, the best case is that they get more insight into how this interview happened and what happened behind the scenes. Because I think the reason the impact of this interview was so large was because 2 years later, obviously, Princess Diana died, and there have always been rumours, and particularly ugly rumours about her death and whether security services or even the royal family, were involved. And those rumours have always been regarded as quite ludicrous. But I think the problem is that if Martin Bashir in any way encouraged Diana herself to think those things were true and contributed to her feeling of paranoia against the royal family, that then resulted in her not using the royal family's protection officers and not using the royal family's the safeguards that are in place for them, that led to her death. Because that was one of the issues around her death, was that she turned down security that was linked to the royal family, and unfortunately that's believed to be one of the main reasons she ended up in a car crash.
Mm-hmm. Wow, yeah, I never thought of it that way, like linking the Martin Bashir interview to it that much, but it makes total sense.
It really does.
So were you surprised at all to see Prince William release a statement supporting the inquiry?
It was surprising in a way, because obviously Prince William, unlike Harry, has pretty much stayed out of the fray in terms of the press, and William himself had a rocky history with the press, particularly when his first two children were born. They were very young. There was a lot of animosity between William and Kate and the British media. They felt that the British media was overstepping, and the British media felt that William and Kate weren't really kind of giving enough to the public that want to see it. So, but they've overcome that, and they are now in quite a good place with the British media. So it was quite significant that William came out and said that he welcomes this inquiry and that it's a step in the right direction. On the other hand, when it comes to his mother, I think he's always had an impulse to protect her legacy, and to, in a way, see justice served for her in a way that it was never when he was a child and helpless and couldn't do anything. I think it's his way of coming now and protecting her as an adult, or at least protecting her memory.
Right. Well, we know that Prince Harry does not have a good relationship with the British media. So were you surprised in that way that he did not reach out, or this was not a joint statement and he kind of spoke out through sources instead?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's significant that they didn't release a joint statement, significant in terms of probably where their relationship is right now, which is really sad. But in terms of Prince Harry not releasing a statement, I think most of his ire right now is directed really at the tabloids. I don't think the BBC is maybe so much on his, not on his radar, but perhaps, I mean, he only has potentially limited energy, and they're running, between him and Meghan, running quite a few lawsuits already against British publications at the moment. So I think possibly, this one, he's just going to see how it goes. And I think maybe his focus right now is, protecting his wife and his child. So that's going to be where he's directing his attention, and in terms of battling against the media, that's his primary focus, really.
Right.
Some of those sources that were speaking for Harry said that he feels the media is making the rift between himself and William worse. Do you think this is true at all?
I mean, probably. It's probably not easy to have constant speculation about your relationship with your sibling in the media. But at the same time, he and William, they have each other's numbers. They're the closest, really, that anyone can be to each other. They're brothers. And there's only so much the media can do. At the end of the day, it's going to take William or Harry, picking up the phone to the other one and sort of trying to push things forward. So I suspect, as with many things with Harry, it certainly plays a part, but there are definitely other things at play as well. You know, there's been rumors about how William and Kate get on with Meghan as well, and how they see her influence. So I think it's not as simple, although probably Harry would like it to be, it's not as simple as just laying the blame on the British media.
Sure, definitely. And then one more question about this. I mean, I think a lot of people probably want to know, since it's been 25 years, why is this all coming to light right now?
Well, I think the anniversary did present a time to look at it all again. There's been actually 3 documentaries by some of the BBC's competitors about that interview. Yeah. And I think for us, 25 years on, it's difficult to really understand the impact that interview had. It's to this day one of the BBC's highest ever rated shows. I think it had 27 million viewers. Apparently they sold, and this was 25 years ago, they sold the rights to broadcasters around the world for over £1 million. It made Martin Bashir's career. I mean, off the back of that, he got these interviews with Michael Jackson and other well-known individuals. And really, it was just a huge interview where Diana really broke with royal precedent and said some things that were completely just unexpected of a princess, you know, about her bulimia, about her postnatal depression, and of course, most famously, about how there were 3 people in her marriage, which has become one of the most famous phrases really in the world. So it was such a huge interview that I think it made sense now to look back at actually how it happened, and how was it that Martin Bashir, this BBC journalist who wasn't really that well known at the time, managed to persuade the princess to disclose all this extremely personal information to him in front of millions of viewers.
Well, KJ, it's always great to get your insight onto everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Definitely. Thank you so much. I definitely feel like we learned so much about this, and it is a complicated situation that I don't think is going to die down anytime soon.
It really is. It is so complex. It's just like it affects so many different things, and yeah.
Crazy. All right, let's move on to our royal history moment of the week, and I absolutely love this. This is a 1985 clip of 3-year-old Prince William helping Princess Diana put her makeup on, and it has reemerged on social media and is exactly as cute as you might expect. Take a look. I just love this. I just wanted to show this because it's so cute.
Yeah, it's just adorable and really sweet. And it comes from a photo shoot that I think we've all probably seen. It's one of the most famous photo shoots of Diana with William and Harry when they were really little. And yeah, I guess he just helped her get ready.
Yeah,
so nice.
Get ready. It's just like, you know, it puts everything into perspective, just how sad it is that they lost their mom at such a young age, and how much more life she had to live.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah.
All right. Well, before we wrap up, we have to check in on our royal kids and our pint-sized palace, and we are finding out what Prince George's favorite meal is, courtesy of celebrity chef Aldo Zili. I love this.
Yes, apparently Prince George is a big fan of spaghetti carbonara.
Aren't we all?
I know. Yeah.
He's a boy after my Italian own heart. I love that. But it seems like they all love Italian food, because when Kate was talking to Len, who she was speaking with during the pandemic, she also talked about their love for Italian food. So it seems like they must have pasta nights quite often at their home.
Yeah, I would love to sit down for some pasta with them sometime.
Seriously, invite us over. All right, well, that's it for this week's episode of Royally Us. Molly, thank you so much.
Thank you, Christina.
Of course. We'll make sure to check back every Wednesday at 10:30 on Us Weekly's YouTube channel for all your royal news. But if you want some more news in the meantime, head on over to usmagazine.com. Keep commenting, keep subscribing, and Molly and I will see you next week. Bye, guys.